yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Yeah, we ran out of patience for your love with the cold hard hatred. I can feel the vibration, feet in the streets, it's a new sensation. I wanna break faces on the pavement. I wanna make greatness look complacent. Adrenaline awakened, I can taste it. We can make an impact, grab and then take it. Like a disease, bring them to their knees. Take the thing to see. Just like a weed.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am the one and only DJ Storms, and I would like to welcome each and every single one of you to a very special edition Monday stream. We are streaming live on 4 different platforms across 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different accounts, and even bigger outreach than we had on Saturday. And we are continuing on with the fantastic year that we've been having for the DJ Storms brand thus far, as we are itching closer and closer to total world domination, because that right there, that is my end goal. This is the official rewind for NXT Vengeance Day, which of course took place last night from Tennessee on the Peacock, that is. Get your mind out of the gutter, you fucking savages. Peacock last night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And we certainly have a lot to discuss as per usual. And I thank each and every single one of you who are continuing to make being DJ Storms worthwhile for me. And we are going to have a very, very, very fun time. I'm actually going to make Mondays tolerable. I make Mondays tolerable because that's what I'm all about. Another thing I am all about is speaking the facts. I don't preach opinions, I spit facts. That's all I do. I'm going to be 100 with you. And some of you may get a little shocked. Some of you may question what life is. But I'm going to go out there and say NXT Vengeance Day was better than the Royal Rumble. I just want you to think on that. No, I am not sick. No, I have not been abducted by aliens. No, I have not been cloned. NXT Vengeance Day was better than the Royal Rumble. The matches were better. The flow of the show was better. The crowd was better. I went into this with zero expectations. The show had zero heat surrounding it because the brand has zero heat surrounding it. Now, does this mean that we are going to get a better NXT on Tuesday? Are we going to get better weekly shows? No, it does not mean that. Matter of fact, that was probably the biggest negative to come out of the show. The biggest negative is the fact that they're not going to follow up on this. Whatever momentum NXT had last night, it came and it died within the same night. But for one show, Shawn Michaels can be happy with his work, and it would be justified. I want to specifically shout out 3 people. Lola Vice, Obafemi, and Trick Williams. I have been very vocal, rightfully so. I've been very vocal about those 3 individuals being showcased very heavily when they were not ready for a main event championship level caliber spotlight. And they're still not ready for that. They're still not ready. I'm not saying they're not ready for television. I'm saying they're not ready to be in top tier spots on the brand. But, even if they're not ready, last night, those three individuals went out there and they took giant leaps. They took huge leaps, huge steps in the right direction towards getting to where they need to be. They took a huge step towards getting to the promised land, towards getting to that place where they could be considered main event level caliber superstars. Now, it did benefit them that they were working with very well-accomplished in-ring leaders like a Roxanne Perez and a Lyra Valkyria and a Dragon Lee and an Ilya Dragunov. It did help them that they were in there with some of the very best in the entire company and the entire industry. But they held their own. They held their own. They did what they needed to do. They didn't fuck up. They didn't botch. And the last three matches on the show ended up making the show. Was it the greatest pay-per-view that they've ever put on? Absolutely not. NXT hasn't been the same since Vince McMahon killed Black and Gold. Black and Gold will always be looked at as the best era of wrestling since the Attitude Era. There will never be another era like NXT Black and Gold, and every time I talk about it, I still get pissed off that Vince McMahon destroyed it. But for one night, NXT and the brand as a whole put on a solid show. And to that, I cannot sit here and overly bitch and moan about it. I'm just as shocked as everyone else, but at the end of the day, I went in with no expectations. The show had no heat surrounding it, and it ended up being a semi-decent show in the end. It ended up being a decent program that ended up being better than what the Royal Rumble was. Royal Rumble was a disappointment. Royal Rumble was a complete disappointment. But we had high expectations for the Royal Rumble. We had no expectations going into Vengeance Day. And Vengeance Day actually gave us some decent material. So I have to say, the NXT brand, they can hang their hat on what they did last night in Tennessee. You already know what the drill is when it comes down to these streams. Do not forget to follow me on social media. Follow me on social media on X and on Instagram at HistoryMakerDJS. One more time, at HistoryMakerDJS, both on X and Instagram. You can also add me on my personal Facebook. For collaborations and business inquiries, please send me an email. My email is, of course, StormsTakeOver@gmail.com. Like the official DJ Storms business page. And I may just send you an invite to join the official DJ Storms Posse group on Facebook. That is, all of those links are in the description of this very stream. You can also follow me on Rumble. We're live on Rumble. And we're also live on the Hardcore Sports Facebook page. We're live on the Hardcore Sports Facebook page. We're looking to get an even bigger outreach than before. And we are looking to grow the Hardcore Sports brand on Facebook. We're growing it on YouTube. We're growing it on X. And we're looking to grow it on Facebook as well. Eight different accounts we are streaming live on. So please, wherever you're watching it from, be sure to like the stream and share it out on all platforms of social media. Shout out to Paul the Shooter. Shout out to Steve Jordan and James Punaseca. Thank you very much for stopping on by. I greatly appreciate you guys. Please make sure you share the stream out, whether it be on X, Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, Tumblr, Snapchat, TikTok, Twitch, Rumble. No matter where you are watching it from, it is incredibly vital that you do so because we want to get a nice, wide outreach. We want to get a real nice, wide outreach so that way we can get as many people in here as possible because everyone needs a little DJ shizzle dizzle in their life because I make people's lives better. That's just what I do. That's just what I do. Without DJ Storms, are you really living? Of course you're not. On top of that, I want to shout out some sponsorships. Shout out to Brittany Kay. She is a wonderful woman. She is an absolute sweetheart. She is a good friend of mine and a big supporter of the brand. Please make sure that you go and check her out if you are looking for some great pro wrestling designs of whatever pro wrestler that you want. And she also does custom-made social media avies and banners. So if you guys are looking for a custom-made social media avie or banner, she's your girl. Go follow her on X, Brittany K5150, and then go follow her on Instagram, Brittany K Designs. And then, of course, I got to shout out Corporate Information Systems. With more than 4 decades of experience, Corporate Information Systems is recognized by Forbes as one of America's best recruiting firms. They specialize in providing recruiting solutions to companies in a variety of industries such as high tech, food and beverage, construction, and medical devices. Now, finding the right candidates can be a time-consuming and challenging process, which is why CIS offers a wide range of services designed to make your recruitment process easier and much more efficient. They provide a seamless and stress-free experience for both clients and candidates. So if you guys are looking for a trusted recruiting partner to help fulfill your hiring needs or help advance your career, please contact my friends over at Corporate Information Systems. You can check out their website, www.cisrecruiters.com. One more time, www.cisrecruiters.com. Corporate Information Systems, placing talent where it can thrive. On top of that, please make sure, if you haven't already done so, hit the subscribe button, whether you're watching on my YouTube channel or the Hardcore Sports YouTube channel. This is the best that the DJ Storms brand has been since its inception. We are on the road to 2,400 subscribers. Then we're going to get to 2,500, 2,600, 2,700, 2,800, 2,900, all the way up to 3,000. That is a big goal that I'm hoping to reach this year. Please go and check out the channel and hit the subscribe button if you haven't already done so. And of course, be sure to subscribe to the Hardcore Sports channel. We are on the road to 1,000. We're looking to get to 1K. 1,000 subscribers for Hardcore Sports YouTube channel. And when you subscribe to whether it be my channel or the Hardcore Sports channel, you got to make sure you hit that notifications bell with a huge coup de grace, because that way you are going to know whenever I pop up on YouTube. Because whenever I pop up on YouTube, oh, baby, it is the absolute best time to be on YouTube. And you know why? Because it's the only time that you are going to get to see this glorious sideburn chin strap combination and this beautiful mustache right here. You already know what time it is. Listen, you didn't get it on Saturday because I was just in a rageful mood. I was in a different form. So you're going to get it on a Monday, and everybody needs this on a Monday. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. Hold on a minute. I gotta blow on it. It is hot. It is sizzling right here. This beautifully crafted magical ace black comb, and we're going to light it up right here on Facebook, YouTube, X, and Rumble with a little and a dash of and a whole lot of because just like hot, fresh, steaming ham and eggs with a hash brown and bacon right off the pan for breakfast, because it's the morning, and breakfast is the most important meal of the day. And who better to have for breakfast than a daily dose of good, scrumptious, tasty, delicious. Everybody wants a piece of the Storms Meister. Anyway, enough of the self-brand promotion, the advertisements. Why don't we get straight into the festivities here? NXT Vengeance Day 2024 kicked off with the finals of the men's Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. It was Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams versus Braun Breaker and Baron Corbin, the Wolf Dogs, as they are calling themselves. I was actually looking forward to this match. And it didn't really live up to the hype that a match of this magnitude should really live up to. It really didn't. Now, I'm not saying that it was a bad match. I'm not saying whatsoever that it was a bad match, because it wasn't. But based on the talent in the ring, I expected a bit more, and it didn't live up to being a PLE-worthy match. It was just good at the end of the night. Braun Breaker, he was the star of this match. Braun Breaker was the major star of this match. That man is constantly evolving, breaking out new moves, pulling out new material, left, right, and center. Braun Breaker is going to be a major player on the main roster. And if Braun Breaker keeps up this pace, they may have no choice but to put a championship on Braun Breaker before the year is over. Braun Breaker is absolutely killing it right now. He's a beast. There were a couple of botches in this match, not really all that smooth, and I'm not really chalking it up to anything other than the fact that it was just an off night. Carmelo Hayes had a bit of an off night. Baron Corbin had a bit of an off night. Braun Breaker had a bit of an off night. Trick Williams was kind of the only individual that didn't fuck up, which is kind of weird considering that he's the most inexperienced. But regardless of that, this was a good match, and it was not a match that I'm going to tell you to go back and rewatch. It was just a setup match. This was pretty much a setup match to set up what was going to happen later on in the show. It was good, not great. So things broke down pretty early. Corbin hit a Death Valley driver on Williams. Mello with a springboard clothesline. Braun Breaker, and this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about with Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker hit a reverse suplex, and then in midair, he changed the reverse suplex into a cutter. First time I've seen Braun Breaker pull that out. That looked great. That was very nicely done. We had a big lariat by Corbin. Mello was then isolated. Braun and Corbin with an assisted power slam. Mello was able to make the tag. Trick Williams with some sidekicks on Breaker and Corbin. Big lariat and a flapjack. We had a bookend for a 2 count. Tag to Mello. He went for a lion salt. He came up a little short there. He only connected with his knees on Baron Corbin. That got a 2 count. Corbin, he kicked out. Williams then dove off the apron onto Corbin. Carmelo Hayes caught Braun Breaker with a code breaker. Breaker kicked out. Breaker then German suplex. This was a great spot right here. And this is, again, Braun Breaker. He was the MVP of this match. Braun Breaker, he threw Carmelo Hayes at Trick Williams. Trick Williams had Carmelo Hayes in a body slam position, right? Braun Breaker German suplexed Trick Williams, and in turn, Trick Williams inadvertently delivered a fallaway slam to Carmelo Hayes. That looked awesome. So Breaker then was hyping up Corbin, and he tossed Corbin over the top rope in a plancha over the top onto Mello and Trick. So back in the ring, Corbin hit a deep 6 on Trick Williams, and then he hit a deep 6 on Carmelo. He was taken out. Breaker then went up top and delivered a swanton bomb off of the top onto Mello and Trick. Back in the ring, Trick and Mello tried to regain control. Trick Williams with a very sloppy-looking neck breaker. I guess he did fuck up a little bit. I think that may have been on Corbin's part, though, because Corbin may have mistimed it. But Trick hit a neck breaker. Williams was then hyped up. Carmelo then stepped in the way of Trick Williams, and Braun Breaker speared Carmelo, and in turn knocked Trick out of the ring momentarily, and Trick could not make the save. Braun Breaker pins Carmelo Hayes, and Braun Breaker and Baron Corbin, the Wolf Dogs, become the 2024 Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic winners. This was the right outcome. These two were the right winners. This is probably the best that Baron Corbin has ever looked since he got called up from NXT. I remember Baron Corbin got called up from NXT with a lot of potential, with a lot of hype, and it just kind of withered away. It just kind of withered away due to piss-poor booking and shitty character changes. Now, Baron Corbin legitimately feels like he's got a nice, string of momentum. Baron Corbin's finally hit his stride. Took him 8 fucking years, but he finally hit his stride with the WWE. And Braun Breaker, Braun Breaker's self-explanatory. He's the fucking future world champion, future WrestleMania main eventer. The guy is absolutely fantastic at what he does. He is legit a perfect, well-rounded pro wrestler. He's got the promo ability. He's got the look. He's got the in-ring ability. He's not just a stereotypical meathead. He's not just a stereotypical meathead. The guy can move. The guy can fly. The guy breaks out new shit left, right, and center. The guy is constantly evolving. Braun Breaker is the definition of what a pro wrestler should be. He's not complacent. So he's self-explanatory. He's going to be a major player sooner rather than later. And this was the right outcome because ultimately the story here was Carmelo Hayes turning on Trick Williams, and that was going to play into an effect of what was going to happen after the main event. So clear as day, it was Carmelo that was going to take the pin. He was going to take the pin, make it seem like Trick Williams was the sole priority for him, and then ultimately he was going to put the dagger in Trick Williams' back at the end of the show. That's exactly what happened. Kind of a sloppy match. They did have some decent spots here and there. It was a good match. It was not a great match. And if I'm going to rate this on a scale from 1 meaning terrible, and 10 meaning, oh my God, we're going to be talking about this for a while, I'd probably give this a 4. This match came and it went. The match came and then it went. Everyone was more focused on what was going to happen in the main event and how they were going to execute Carmelo Hayes' heel turn. Corbin and Braun Breaker win the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic, and I would not be shocked whatsoever. I would not be shocked if we do see Braun Breaker and Corbin beat Tony D'Angelo and Stax and win the tag team titles. Dijak and Joe Gacy. This was a no disqualifications match. This was one of the matches that I was looking forward to the most because I actually wanted to see what they would do with Joe Gacy. Now, Joe Gacy, we already know how Joe Gacy came into NXT and how shitty of a presentation he had. Dijak's phenomenal. Dijak has been phenomenal for a while. Even under the shitty T-bar gimmick, Dijak has been great for a long time. But Joe Gacy he's almost undergone a transformation. It's like they reverted Joe Gacy back to a little bit of what he was on the independent scene. Joe Gacy, he went from being an individual that was preaching about inclusivity and a safe space, and then they brought on Schism, and Schism was a complete fucking botch. Schism was a complete fucking wreck right from the word go. Schism was one of the worst things about NXT. Joe Gacy was one of the worst acts on NXT, and now with this character change where he's pretty much playing a psychopath, he's pretty much playing a mentally unstable freak, a mentally unstable freak that's just gonna do whatever the fuck he wants. He's on commentary, and then he's in the dumpster, and then he's in the trunk of Tony D'Angelo and Stack's car. He's just a fucking psychopath. No one knows what he's going to do next. He went from being one of the worst acts on NXT to potentially being one of the best acts on NXT. I didn't believe that I would ever invest in Joe Gacy. But this is probably the best that Joe Gacy has ever looked. No joke. This was a very fun match. It was a very fun match. They did get a little creative here and there. And Dijak, there's no doubt in my mind that Dijak should be the next NXT champion. No doubt in my mind that Dijak should be the next NXT champion. The story is there with Ilya Dragunov. The history is there. There is no doubt in my mind that Dijak, being the guy to beat Dragunov, would be the best route to go. We need to reward Dijak. Dijak has been way too good for way too long. He has been killing it. And I mean killing it. He has been kicking ass ever since he got to the WWE. It's been 6 years. I think it's time we reward Dijak for the hard work that he's put in. This was very, very fun. Matter of fact, this match actually outdid the first match. So Dijak and Gacy, they got into it right out of the gate. We had a big Falcon arrow by Dijak. Gacy with a tope suicida. The crowd was actually starting to get behind Gacy a little bit. So Gacy brought out a trash can and a couple chairs and some duct tape. And I'm wondering, well, what are we going to do here? So Dijak was placed on a chair, and Gacy then delivered a cannonball senton off of the steel steps onto Dijak, which looked great. Gacy then got a table, and then he got a wooden crate full of toys, toy cars and toy soldiers and Legos. He poured it onto the table. So now the table had a bunch of toys on it. The table had a bunch of toys on it. Dijak took over. He delivered a big boot to Gacy. He then put a trash can on Joe Gacy's head, and he booted the trash can. Joe Gacy kept on sitting up like The Undertaker. Joe Gacy playing up to that psychotic individual that pretty much enjoys pain. So Dijak just then started stomping on Joe Gacy, just stomped him into the trash can, delivered an elbow drop. Gacy got back up. Dijak was going to deliver a boot while Joe Gacy was in the trash can standing up, and Joe Gacy used the trash can like a battering ram and bashed the trash can headfirst into Dijak. So Gacy then delivered a Uranagi. That got a 2 count. Gacy then had Dijak on the apron. Dijak was going for a springboard elbow, and Joe Gacy shoved Dijak. Dijak went sailing through the air, and he went face first through the table with the toys on it, and he landed right. He landed right. If he would have gone head first, I believe he landed with his chin. If he would have landed head first, he probably would have risked getting poked in the eye with one of those toys. So Dijak, he took that move right. He landed on his chin rather than his face. But that could have been disastrous right there. So after Dijak went sailing through the table, we had Dijak getting back up and then back in the ring. Dijak delivered a choke slam to Joe Gacy on a steel chair. He calls it high justice. Gacy was able to kick out. So Dijak then went up to the top. Joe Gacy met him there, and Joe Gacy delivered a big German suplex, turning Dijak inside out from the top rope, just missed the trash can. Dijak kicked out. So at this point, now Joe Gacy tries to get a little creative, and I actually love this spot. Joe Gacy duct tapes Dijak's eyes shut so he can't see. Joe Gacy duct tapes Dijak's eyes completely shut, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, this is all right. I don't think I've ever seen this before. First time ever. I think I've ever seen someone duct tape another person's eyes shut in pro wrestling. So Gacy then took a kendo stick and just started beating the hell. He started beating the hell out of Dijak with the kendo stick over and over and over. So then Dijak, he looked like he was finished, but Dijak seemingly rose from the dead. He had Joe Gacy up on his shoulders, and he delivered "Feast Your Eyes." And then he went for the cover. He went for the cover, but he couldn't find him because he couldn't see Joe Gacy. He delivered "Feast Your Eyes," but he could not get the win because Joe Gacy looked like a genius in the end by duct taping his eyes shut. Now that was innovative. That was creative. So the crowd started chanting, "You can't see him." So the crowd decided to get a little creative with the whole thing. They started chanting, "You can't see him." Gacy was then hanging upside down like a maniac. Dijak ripped the duct tape off, looked behind him. He didn't know what he was seeing. Joe Gacy was hanging upside down like a maniac. Gacy with a DDT on the chair. He then went up, delivered a big splash. 1, 2. Dijak kicked out. So then Joe Gacy, he went for the upside down clothesline. Dijak hit Joe Gacy with the nightstick. He then delivered Feast Your Eyes, and Dijak gets the win in what was a very fun no DQ match. And afterwards, you could see that Joe Gacy was knocked out and he was smiling as Dijak took the victory. Good stuff. Good stuff. And up until this point, this was probably the best match on the entire show. Very, very, very fun stuff. Was it a great match? Was it a match that's going to be looked at as match of the year worthy? No. By the end of the year, this match will be completely forgotten. But Joe Gacy really came out of his shell, and he's probably, right now, one of the more enjoyable acts on the entire NXT brand. This was a very fun match. Dijak gets the win. They got a little creative. They did what they needed to do. And Dijak, he gets past Gacy. Now, let's get Dijak into the NXT title picture going on into Stand and Deliver. Dijak should be your new NXT champion, and we need to get Dragunov on the main roster. The D'Angelo family. This is Tony D'Angelo, Channing Stax Lorenzo, and Adriana Rizzo taking on Out the Mud. Scripps accompanied Out the Mud. It was Jada Parker, Lucian Price, and Bronco Nima. So the family attacked Out the Mud from behind. No love loss right out of the gate. Tony D came in, tagged to Stax. Stax was picking up the pace pretty early. We had some nice double team action on Nima. Rizzo was in there, and she got tossed into Jada Parker. Tony D'Angelo then got tossed into Bronco Nima. Cannonball senton in the corner. Stax was then isolated. Price tried to keep him grounded. We got an assisted power slam for a 2 count. Tagged to Tony D. He lit up everyone. We had some belly-to-belly suplexes and a nice spine buster. Tony D, let me tell you something. When Tony D gets going, I love when Tony D gets the hot tag. Tony D has got a really, really nice repertoire. So Jada Parker came in. The women didn't really do anything here. Jada Parker came in, slapped Tony D. Rizzo took her out. Stax was then launched over the top rope with a tope con hero onto Nima and Price. Rizzo, this was probably the best spot of the entire match right here. Rizzo went up to the top, and Rizzo delivered a very nice frog splash crossbody off the top onto Bronco Nima and Lucian Price. Back in the ring, we had a big pop-up spine buster on Price, and Tony D hits the Fisherman Buster, which he calls the Forget About It, and Tony D gets the win 1, 2, 3. This was clearly the piss break match on the show. Rizzo and Jada Parker clearly are not ready. Rizzo and Jada Parker clearly are not ready for a major live event. Clearly, they're not ready for television either. They are best suited as managers for their respective tag teams. Was the match horrible? No. We did get some decent spots down the stretch. Tony D is great. Stax is great. Rizzo had a great-looking crossbody, but this was not PLE worthy. This was not Premium Live Event worthy. I'm actually wondering why we even got this match. This just seems as though they put this match on the show just to give Tony D'Angelo and Stax something to do. Just to give them something to do. Just to give them a match. Just to give them a win on pay-per-view before they move them on to something else. And this is one of the major issues that I have with NXT. They do not know how to book their champions. The title reign of Tony D and Stax, their title reign has sucked. They should not have lost to Chase U, only to lose it right back. It's unbelievable. Why did they lose it to Chase U, only to win it right back? Very, very stupid. That screwed up their momentum. They were riding a decent wave of momentum coming out of the Great American Bash when they beat Gallus. Now it's almost like they got nothing to do. They're just waiting for Baron Corbin and Braun Breaker, and they're going to win the titles at Stand and Deliver. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. But the match wasn't bad. But you could have easily got away with putting this on NXT TV. It actually would have came off better if it was on NXT TV, if I'm going to be completely honest with you. Completely, utterly meaningless. I'm actually sitting here wondering why we didn't just get Tony D and Stacks defending the tag team titles. Why didn't you just give us Tony D and Stacks defending the titles against Bronco Nima and Lucian Price with a stipulation? We got a stipulation for Joe Gacy and Dijak. Why didn't you give us something like a 2 out of 3 falls, or a strap match, or a steel cage match, or a street fight? Something along those lines. Something along those lines. I don't really get it. So at this point, I was just thinking to myself, well, outside of Dijak and Gacy, I don't even know why I'm watching this show. Then we get to the women's match. This is where things started to get a little interesting. It was Lyra Valkyria and Roxanne Perez, or at least that's what it started as. This was for the NXT Women's Championship. So this was a very technical start. We had a nice Hurricane Rana by Perez, Wrecking Ball dropkick by Valkyria. Back in the ring, we had a springboard moonsault by Perez for a 2. Nice leg trap German suplex. Roxanne Perez landed right on her neck. So that looked brutal right there. Roxanne Perez was put through the ringer in this match. So Perez, then with a Hurricane Rana off the top, she then hit Pop Rocks, which looked very nice. All of a sudden, out comes Lola Vice. Out comes Lola Vice with her NXT breakout tournament contract, as if it's a Money in the Bank contract type of deal. Lola Vice comes on out. Tatum Paxley comes on in, because Tatum Paxley has this obsession with Lyra Valkyria. Tatum Paxley comes on in, and Tatum Paxley tries to stop Valkyria to no avail whatsoever. And we had Lola Vice cash in her breakout tournament contract, and the match officially becomes a triple threat match. So Lola Vice came out right out of the gate. Roxanne Perez was locked in a sleeper hold. We thought that Roxanne Perez was out. Roxanne Perez was able to reverse. Valkyria with a body splash off the top rope. Perez saved it. Crowd then started to wake up a bit. We had an enziguri by Valkyria. Vice and Perez, they started trading blows back and forth. We had a hip attack by Lola Vice on Roxanne Perez in the corner, and one for Valkyria. Perez then with a Russian leg sweep DDT combo on Vice and Valkyria at the same time. Tope Suicida on Vice. Tope Suicida on Valkyria. Valkyria then with the Samoan driver, and that got a 2 count. That got a 2 count because Vice broke it up. Crowd was chanting NXT, NXT. We then had a spinning back elbow by Vice. Looks like she's been taking some lessons from Chris Jericho because she hit a very nice Judas effect. Valkyria kicked out. We had a spin kick by Valkyria. Valkyria then was caught with a Pop Rocks. Paxley then came in out of nowhere and attacked Roxanne Perez. Back in the ring, Valkyria dodged a spin kick by Lola Vice, and then Lola Vice caught the Samoan driver. 1, 2, 3, and Lyra Valkyria retains the championship. I have been very vocal about Lola Vice. I have said that she has not really shown any reason as to why she should be looked at as the next big thing. But after this match and what she did, I'd say that Lola Vice is coming along very, very nicely. Matter of fact, I would actually have to say that Lola Vice's inclusion to this match actually made it better. The only 2 downsides to this was, A, the Tatum Paxley shit is garbage. The Tatum Paxley shit, this rehash of what WWE did back in the day with Mickie James and Trish Stratus, that shit That shit's terrible. The Tatum Paxley shit is terrible. That's number one. And number two, Lola Vice looked like a fucking retard out there. Not in the sense that she looked bad in the ring. She looked great from an in-ring perspective, but from an intelligent perspective, why is Lola Vice going out there and cashing in within 5-6 minutes of the match? Roxanne Perez and Lyra Valkyria didn't even break a fucking sweat. Didn't even break a sweat. And here she comes, rushing out. Oh my God, I gotta cash in. I gotta cash in. I gotta cash in. Wait! Let them beat the hell out of each other a little bit more. Lola Vice actually put herself at a disadvantage in that match. 5 minutes of a match, and then you decide to cash in? Look at what happened at WrestleMania 31. Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns were beating the shit out of each other for at least 15 minutes. They were beating the shit out of each other for at least 15 minutes before Seth Rollins cashed in his Money in the Bank contract. And Lola Vice, 5 minutes? Oh yeah, this is my time. I mean, come on, how stupid does Lola Vice look? I guess if they want to, they could chalk it up to the fact that, Lola Vice is inexperienced. But nevertheless, even if you're inexperienced, I think that even an inexperienced individual would know, you know what, I'm going to wait until they're both completely weakened, because this match isn't going to end in 5-6 minutes. Those are the only two things that really rang out as negatives throughout the match. The Tatum Paxley shit sucks, and Lola Vice looked like an idiot for trying to cash in after Roxanne Perez and Lyra Valkyria were only fighting for 5 minutes. Didn't even break a sweat, and in comes Lola Vice. But outside of those two things, the match was very, very good. This was probably the best use of Lola Vice because she's not ready to be champion yet. Listen, I understand that there's a lot of Lola Vice fans out there, but Lola Vice is not ready to be a champion yet. This was a great use of her. She is not ready. She kind of looks stupid, but it ended up being a very good match, and this was probably the best in-ring that Lola Vice has looked ever since she came to NXT. She did not look out of place. She mixed it up very, very well, and Roxanne Perez and Lyra Valkyria were able to bring out a certain side that we had not seen yet. They were able to bring out a bit more of a fluid side of Lola Vice. Because I take a look at Lola Vice's past matches, and she was very, very stiff. She was very stiff. She wasn't very loose. She was contemplating what she wanted to do next. But after what we saw here, Roxanne Perez and Lyra Valkyria were able to bring Lola Vice to the next level. Regardless of how stupid she looked, trying to cash in within 5 minutes of the match, she took that next step towards being ready for that spotlight. And I was very, very pleased with what we got. And the women of NXT, when they allow them to go, they put on really, really, really solid matches. Matter of fact, this was probably Lyra Valkyria's best match as NXT Women's Champion to date. They have given Lyra absolutely nothing to work with. They have given her nothing to work with. And after how many months as champion? 4 months? 5 months? Finally, Lyra Valkyria is thrown a bone. Finally, she's given something to work with, and we got ourselves a very good triple threat. Easily the best match of Lyra Valkyria's championship reign thus far, and easily the best match in Lola Vice's very, very short WWE career thus far. Valkyria retains. This was the right outcome. The end goal here should be Blair Davenport and Lyra Valkyria, but then again, after the disappointing match that they had at New Year's Evil, I'm not sure if WWE has any intention of running it back again. She lost clean in 10 minutes? She lost clean in 10 minutes. How exactly are you going to put her back in the title scene? At this point, you may as well give Roxanne a regular one-on-one match with Valkyria at Stand and Deliver. And let that be Roxanne Perez's swan song. But the triple threat match was very good. James Ponseca, listen, It's not about me liking or disliking certain things. It's about speaking objectively. If it was a bad show, if it was an objectively bad show, I would tell you. But we got more good than we got bad on the show. We got a very good women's triple threat match. I can't really sit here and complain about that. I would be an idiot if I did. Obafemi and Dragon Lee, NXT North American Championship. Obafemi is another one. I have been very, very vocal on Obafemi. I had absolutely no problem whatsoever that Obafemi won the NXT Breakout Tournament. I had absolutely no problem whatsoever. No problem at all. The problem that I had was Obafemi cashing in legitimately a week later when A, Dragon Lee barely got a month as the NXT North American Champion. That's A. B, Obafemi is not ready. He is still very, very green. He is still very, very new. He's got a long way to go. And C, the NXT North American Championship has not really felt prestigious since Wesley lost it. Since Dominic Mysterio got his hands on the NXT North American Championship, the NXT North American Championship has not felt the same. The NXT North American Championship used to be the one true constant with NXT. Throughout all the bullshit, all the 2.0 bullshit, all of the Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard regime bullshit, the NXT North American Championship remained the one true constant as something that we can go out and watch. Whenever there was an NXT North American Championship match, you knew it was going to be a banger of a match. You knew we were going to get the best of the best when that bell rings. And then Dominic Mysterio won it, and then Trick Williams won it for 3 days, and then he lost it to Dominic Mysterio, and then Dominic lost it to Dragon Lee. And I thought that with Dragon Lee, they would have finally given us something. I thought with Dragon Lee, they were going to finally give us something of substance, and they were going to give us a legit championship reign where Dragon Lee would bring prestige back to that championship, and he was on his way to doing that. He was bringing everyone to their best matches to date. He was defending the championship on SmackDown. He was defending the championship on NXT. He brought Lexis King to his best match in WWE to date. And then what? You just have Obafemi swoop in, cash in, win it from him when Obafemi is not at that stage where he should be a top-tier champion on the show. The guy's barely been there. The guy has barely been there for how many months? 4 months? 4 months, and he's already NXT North American champion. I mean, the guy's not Kevin Owens. The guy's not a Ricochet. The guy's not an Adam Cole. The guy's not a Drew McIntyre. Why is he a champion? He has zero clout. He has zero name value. I'm not saying that he can't get there. He's on his way to getting there. But he's not there. So why is he a champion? What, just because it's Black History Month? And you got to push the black narrative? Why, just because he's a new star, he's a big guy, just because he's got a good look? And you want to push him just because, oh my God, he's got a great look. He's a monster. He's 6'3", 300 pounds. Is that why you're pushing him? Those should not be reasons that you push someone. You should be pushing someone who is the best bell-to-bell professional wrestler on your roster to be a champion. The best, only the best, bell-to-bell should be champion. Obafemi is not the best bell-to-bell. However, this was a major test for Obafemi right here. This match went 12, 13 minutes. This was a major test for Obafemi. And I would say that he did very well. Is he ready? No. We'll see how the rest of his title reign goes. I'm going to be keeping a very close eye on it. We will see how his title reign goes. But, for one night against Dragon Lee, Obafemi went in there. He didn't fuck up. He didn't botch. He didn't show any nerves. He went in there and he had a very good match for the short length that they got with Dragon Lee. Dragon Lee and Obafemi, they mixed it up. They gelled very well together. It was a classic little man, big man match. Obafemi was throwing his weight around. Obafemi was using his strength. He was using his power. And Dragon Lee went out there, made him look like a star. Dragon Lee went out there, he bumped around, he sold the shit out of Obafemi's moves, and it ended up being a very good North American Championship match for the 12, 13 minutes that we got. So I can't really sit here and complain about it much. So Dragon Lee with a drop kick and a tope suicida right out of the gate. Obafemi then carried Lee up the steps. Lee tried to use his quickness again, diving double foot stomp for a 2. We had a nice vertical suplex by Femi and a big Beal. Femi was just relishing in his handiwork, just relishing in his work. We had a big backbreaker, a second one, and a third one. Looked like a little bit of an Irish curse backbreaker. So Obafemi got a 2 count off the trifecta of backbreakers. Dragon Lee, then with the octopus stretch, Obafemi grabbed the rope with his teeth. Oba was then caught with a super kick and an enziguri. Femi caught with a tornado DDT and a V-trigger. Lee with a hesitation drop kick. That got a 2 count. Obafemi was up on the middle rope, and Dragon Lee carried Obafemi. Dragon Lee is deceptively strong. Dragon Lee with a sit-out powerbomb on Femi. Femi kicked out. Femi was then caught with a knee on the apron. Dragon Lee went for a dive off the apron, and Femi chopped him, just bear-pawed him right in the chest, like a frying pan, chopped him right in the chest, and Dragon Lee fell to the floor. He then tore apart the table. It looked like he was going through the table. Dragon Lee countered with a DDT on the floor. Dragon Lee was then going for the table. But then Femi, he got Dragon Lee in a chokeslam position, and he chokeslammed Dragon Lee onto the announcer's chair. Right onto the announcer's chair. Dragon Lee fell back. Femi then tossed Dragon Lee back into the ring. We had a Hurricane Rana pin by Dragon Lee. That got a close 2 count. Femi then with Snake Eyes, a big suplex toss, and a pop-up powerbomb. Femi pins Dragon Lee 1, 2, 3. Femi retains the championship clean. No bullshit, no outside interference. Femi gets the win. Dragon Lee made him look great. And for the 12, 13 minutes that it was a very good showcase for both men. I actually wish they could have gone another 5, 6 more minutes because I was actually enjoying this match. But for what we got, Femi, he looked good. Femi looked good, and I'd like to hope that we continue to see performances like this from Femi. Keep putting Femi in there with people like Dragon Lee, because Dragon Lee is so good that he is automatically going to make everyone else that he's in the ring with a better pro wrestler, and that's exactly what happened here with Femi. Now, I'm not sure what's going to happen with Femi and the rest of his title reign. I don't know what the fuck's going to happen. I'm not sure who the fuck they're going to line up for him. I'm not sure who the fuck they're going to put him up against. But I would say that for one night, Femi, he was given a test. He passed with flying colors. And let's see what else he comes up with. Maybe they put him in there with a Nathan Fraser. Maybe an Axiom. Maybe a Joe Gacy. I'd like to see what else Obafemi can do. Because one performance is one performance. But if he puts together a string of performances, I'll start to say to myself, all right, you know what? Femi's getting better. Femi is getting better, and Femi has got something. Femi's really got something. But this was a fine match. Fine match, and Dragon Lee did the job. and he made Obafemi look good. Obafemi retains the championship as expected. There's no way that Obafemi was losing the championship simply 4 weeks after winning it. The main event. It was Trick Williams and Ilya Dragunov for the NXT Championship. Again, similar to Lola Vice, similar to Obafemi, I have been very vocal about Trick Williams. He's got a great look. He can cut a promo. He's got a great theme song. He's over with the crowd. But from a bell-to-bell perspective, Trick Williams was not ready. I'm not saying that I don't want him to get better. I'm not saying that I don't think he's going to be ready. But Trick Williams, compared to everyone else on the roster, Trick Williams is on the lower level of the totem pole from an in-ring perspective. Ilya Dragunov has had a terrible reign as the NXT champion. Not terrible in the sense of Dragunov has looked weak. He's had a terrible reign in the sense of they've given him nothing to work with. Outside of the match with Carmelo Hayes, where he won the title, and then the third match with Carmelo at Halloween Havoc, Dragunov really hasn't done anything. He had a solid main event with Baron Corbin, but let's be honest here, the crowd really shit all over that match. The crowd did not give that match with Baron Corbin and Ilya Dragunov the energy that it really deserved. And that match ended up being very, very forgettable. How you doing, Raging Girl Gamer? Greatly appreciate you. Dragunov's title reign has been terrible. And since Halloween Havoc and the third match with Carmelo, they haven't done anything with him. Matter of fact, Dragunov was never even portrayed as the top priority on the show. The top priority on the show was the Trick Williams-Carmelo Hayes saga. And that's pretty much what tied into Vengeance Day and what made the show. Trick Williams made the show. The whole story with Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes was the show. I had been very vocal how Trick Williams was not ready. But tonight, or last night rather, Trick Williams, I would say he was elevated. Trick Williams was elevated to that next level. Trick Williams went out there and he didn't bitch, he didn't moan, he didn't complain, he didn't get all pissy and hypersensitive because of the criticisms on social media. Trick Williams went out there and he busted his ass and he got better. Trick Williams went out there with a guy like Ilya Dragunov. Ilya Dragunov, who is easily one of the hardest hitters in the industry today, one of the most legit superstars in WWE and one of the most legit pro wrestlers on the planet. He went in there. He took a fucking beating. He got up. He was bleeding from the mouth. He still got back up. He was egging Dragunov on. Hit him again, hit me again. And he gave it right back to Dragunov. This was the first time in Trick Williams' career that I did not look at Trick Williams as an undercarder. This was the first time in Trick Williams' run in NXT that I did not say, why is Trick Williams in this spot? This was the first time that I said to myself, Trick Williams, man, he feels like he's ready. Matter of fact, I went into this match zero expectations. I thought this was going to be I thought this was going to be a very boring and generic main event with Dragunov having to carry the load. And I fully expected Dragunov to retain, and I'm just thinking to myself, all right, let's get through this match and let's get Dragunov to stand and deliver. And then, after 50%, 60% of the match, and I saw what Trick Williams was doing, I'm thinking to myself, holy shit, I actually want Trick to win this. I went from feeling nothing to feeling, man, I actually want Trick to pull this off. Crowd was into it. It was hard hitting. It was physical. It had a little drama with the referee going down. It had a little drama with Carmelo Hayes. And it was very well produced. It was whoever produced this match should get a raise. And props to Ilya Dragunov for bringing the best out of Trick Williams. That's what happens when you wrestle Ilya Dragunov. You automatically become better than you were before the match. And Trick Williams, I got to give a lot of credit to Trick Williams. This was a lot of weight on his shoulders. Trick Williams was given a lot, and I mean he was given a lot way too quickly. Trick Williams was given all of this spotlight. He was given the North American title. He was given the Iron Survivor Challenge. He was given a main event for NXT. This is the first NXT show of 2024, the first NXT PLE of 2024. And Trick Williams was given the task of being NXT's first PLE main event of the year. That's a lot of pressure. That's a lot of fucking weight to carry on your shoulders. But Trick Williams, by the end of the night, Trick Williams came out of this match looking like a bigger star than he was going into this match. And I don't want to make comparisons. But it almost felt as though Shawn Michaels wanted to recreate what we saw with Johnny Gargano and Andrade Cien Almas back at NXT TakeOver Philadelphia. Now, Johnny Gargano, before that match, Johnny Gargano was already a star. Johnny Gargano, before that match, was already a major player. He didn't need that match with Almas in order to elevate his stock. Gargano was already ahead of the majority of the WWE roster as soon as he got there. Gargano was already at an elite level. But as far as that match goes, that match did take Johnny Gargano to the next level, even though he lost. And I guess in this instance, we had Ilya Dragunov playing the role of Andrade Cien Almas. Trick Williams was playing the role of Johnny Gargano. And then you had Carmelo Hayes on the outside playing the role of Tommaso Ciampa. And the heel turn in the end came off extremely well. But Trick Williams, he was given a lot. He was given too much too soon. And he was either going to crumble under the pressure or he was going to become better. I'd say Trick Williams passed the test. We'll see how he favors going forward, but I think that if Trick Williams keeps up the pace that he's on, and you keep putting Trick Williams in there with guys like Dragunov and guys like Josh Briggs or Grayson Waller or a Carmelo Hayes, guys like that, I think Trick Williams is going to really get better at a rapid pace. He's going to get better at a pace that I don't think anyone could have ever predicted he would get better at. I don't even believe I'm going to say this. Now, granted, we are only 5 weeks into the new year. We're only 5 fucking weeks into 2024. But I probably have to say that this was probably my WWE match of the year thus far. I went into this feeling nothing, and in the end, I'm like, holy shit, this could swing either way. The false finishes, the near falls, everything about the match, everything about that match last night with Trick Williams and Ilya Dragunov, it felt like a main event worthy match. And I would have to say that this match was probably better than the entire Royal Rumble pay-per-view. There was just no energy. There was just no heat. There was just no sense of urgency with the Royal Rumble. This match, completely different story. It's unbelievable. How is it that 3,200 people in Tennessee make more noise than 40,000 people in Tropicana Field? It's unbelievable. But this match was really, really, really good. Really, 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 really good stuff right here from Dragunov and Williams. So Williams with a body slam, Dragunov with a Constantine special, Ilya Dragunov with some chops. Trick Williams was bleeding from his mouth. So Trick Williams, right out of the gate, he tasted his own blood. Ilya Dragunov was just pouring on the aggression, the spinning back chops, German suplex on the floor, Death Valley driver on the apron. Mello looked legitimately concerned. Dragunov then with a diving drop kick for a 2. Williams, he was just being dissected by Mello. Williams said, fuck this. He slapped Dragunov across the face. Dragunov was bleeding from his nose. He had dried blood right underneath his nose. Williams tried to fight back. Dragunov with a powerbomb. Trick with an enziguri. Trick with a code breaker. And Ilya sold the shit out of it. We had some side kicks and a big flapjack. We had a big flying lariat by Trick. Trick with an uppercut sent Dragunov over the top. Both men were on the apron. Williams then with a rock bottom on the floor on Dragunov. It looked a little sloppy, but it was a rock bottom nonetheless. And that right there, that seems like the type of bump that an Ilya Dragunov would take. So Mello then got in Dragunov's face. He went to hit Dragunov. Dragunov then shoved Mello into Trick inadvertently with a chop block. And Mello, he was like, oh shit, I don't believe what just happened. Trick Williams got back into the ring, and he actually gained the upper hand. Trick Williams back in the ring, he delivered an H-bomb. That diving forearm, that falling forearm that Ilya Dragunov does. Trick Williams delivered an H-bomb, and he delivered it pretty decently too. H-bomb by Trick Williams. Dragunov kicked out. We had a power bomb and an H-bomb by Dragunov. Dragunov then went up to the middle rope and delivered a middle rope H-bomb. 1, 2, Trick kicked out. Trick kicked out. The crowd popped. The crowd were ready for Trick. Trick then dodged Torpedo Moscow. Tornado kick. 1, 2. Dragunov kicked out again. Mello then got up on the apron. Trick was going for Dragunov, and Trick accidentally hit the ref and Mello. Both the ref and Mello were out. Trick Williams then with the running knee, the Trick knee. There was no ref. The count was at 8. All of a sudden, we had a new ref. A new ref slid into the ring. 1, 2. Dragunov kicked out. Another great near fall. Another excellent near fall. I thought that was it. I'm not even going to lie. These near falls with the Rumble, not the Rumble. These near falls with Dragunov and Trick and the ref going down back and forth. Everything came off incredibly well. Everything came off incredibly well here. So after Dragunov kicked out, the crowd was really getting hyped up. The crowd was really getting behind Trick. So Dragunov kicked out. We had a big knee and an H-bomb by Dragunov. The crowd was chanting, whoop that Trick, whoop that Trick. Dragunov went for a top rope H-bomb, but Trick Williams got the knees up. So the knees were up, and then both men were in the opposite corners. Both men went for their finishes, and it ended up being Dragunov that got the upper hand. Dragunov got the upper hand. He hit the Torpedo Moscow, and Dragunov pins Trick 1, 2, 3. Trick retains the championship clean. This was easily the best match of Trick Williams' career. Matter of fact, not even just the best match of his career. This was the match of Trick Williams' life. Ilya Dragunov brought Trick Williams to the match of his fucking life. Absolutely excellent. Excellent, 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 excellent stuff. And then Ilya Dragunov, I would say the same thing regarding his title reign. This was the best match of Dragunov's title reign thus far. With the unpredictability factor of Carmelo in there, with Trick Williams and how hot he has been, everything rolled up into one. It was just the perfect storm. It was the perfect storm, and both men came out of this match looking better than they were going into this match. Dragunov gave us the best match of Williams' life and the best match of his title reign thus far. Dragunov retaining was the right outcome. I do believe that Trick Williams is going to be an NXT champion. I do believe that Trick Williams is going to be a major player, but this was not his time. When it's his time, it will be his time. You will know it. The story here was not Trick Williams winning the NXT championship. The story here was Carmelo Hayes. This match was nothing more than a stepping stone towards getting the Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes feud. This match was a stepping stone to get Trick Williams to that next level, to elevate Trick Williams while in doing so giving Dragunov another title defense, and that's exactly what happened. So afterwards, Dragunov left the ring. Melo said, "It don't matter. You gave it you all. You were this close. It's me and you here." He's saying, "You're my boy," says Melo. All of a sudden, Melo walks behind Trick, very menacing, and shot blocks Trick right in the left knee. Vic Joseph saying, "Damn it, why?" Carmelo Hayes, this was great right here. Carmelo Hayes then got a steel chair. He got a steel chair. He took the chair and just bashed Trick in the knee. Bashed his leg over and over and over and over again. Bashed it into fucking bits. Dragunov was nowhere to be seen. Trick Williams then set up the chair. He took the towel that said TMG, Trick Mello Gang, and he laid the towel on top of Trick Williams. And the crowd, I love Tennessee for this. The crowd was chanting, "Fuck you, Mello." "Fuck you, Mello." Love it. Absolutely love it. Fuck you, Mello. My God, I'm ready for heel Mello. And you know what? This is probably the best time to do it. Mello, he's kind of gone as far as he could go as a babyface. Now it's time for a change. Carmelo Hayes' heel turn on Trick Williams. Absolutely fantastic. Everything about it was perfectly done. And now this will tie up loose ends, play up to the long-term story dating back all the way to October, and now we get the match at Stand and Deliver. And a heel Mello, that's the best route to go. Carmelo Hayes, listen, he's a decent babyface, but when it comes to being a heel, when it comes to being that cocky prick, Carmelo Hayes does it incredibly well. He looks like a heel. He doesn't look like a babyface. He looks like a heel. And with how hot of a babyface that Trick Williams has been, Carmelo Hayes coming on in, doing the job for Williams, gaining some extra heel heat, and potentially mixing it up, Carmelo Hayes would be a great heel for the mid-card scene on SmackDown when LA Knight wins the U.S. title. Everything about Carmelo's heel turn executed to perfection. So now it looks like we got ourselves our big-time matchup for Stand and Deliver. Is it going to be the main event? I don't think it's going to be the main event. Matter of fact, I wouldn't understand why it would be the main event unless it's an unsanctioned match. But this will be one of your marquee matches for Stand and Deliver. This and Dragunov and Dijak. And if they play their cards right, Dragunov and Dijak and Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes, those two matches are going to be a very, very nice set of matches to sell the Wells Fargo Center on for Stand and Deliver. If they play their cards right, this could be the best Stand and Deliver that they've ever done. They just need to pace themselves nicely. So you got Trick Williams, Carmelo Hayes, you got Dragunov and Dijak, and you got Braun Breaker and Baron Corbin versus the D'Angelo family for the tag team titles. Those are your top three matches. And then you can add some more things as we get further and further into the build. But overall, NXT Stand and Deliver. NXT Stand and Deliver is looking really, really, really nice. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what Trick Williams brings to the table against Carmelo. And if you just let them go, I mean, they're best friends. You let them go. You let them do what they need to do. I'd say that they're going to put on one hell of a match. This match with Carmelo and Trick could very well outdo what Ilya Dragunov and Trick did. So Trick Williams, I'm looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to it. This is pretty much the only good thing about NXT is the Trick Williams Carmelo Hayes saga. But for one night, NXT, they had a very, very, very solid show. They had a very solid show, and I can't really sit here and say that it disappointed me. I can't sit here and say that. It was better than the Rumble. I don't even believe those words came out of my mouth, but for one night, I'd say that NXT, from a pay-per-view standpoint, they delivered a fairly solid show. And that's really all I could ask for in the end. I don't give a fuck what goes down. Just give me a good show. Just give me a good show is all. Ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up this edition of The Rewind. I would like to thank each and every single one of you who tuned into the stream. Thank you very much to Paul the Shooter, Final Horse, Hula Grim, Raging Girl Gamer. Thank you very much to James Punaseca, Mitch Kovsky. You guys are fantastic. Glad that you decided to spend your Monday mornings with me. I'm going to get home. I'm going to eat some lunch. I am going to relax. And we are going to get set for Monday Night Raw tonight. We are going to get set for yet another week in the world of pro wrestling as I continue to damn every single individual that supports The Rock and Roman Reigns straight to the fiery depths of hell, because fuck you. You are the reason why pro wrestling is suffering. It is going to be a phenomenal week and a phenomenal WrestleMania season as we continue to go on and on into the months of winter. And hopefully, since the groundhog didn't see his shadow, we're headed into an early spring because I am fucking over the cold. You already know the drill. Like, comment, and subscribe. Check out all those links in the description. Be ready for the Lightning Flash update every single Saturday. At the end of this month, we got ourselves the rundown for the Chamber. We got the rewind for the Chamber on Saturday afternoon because I'm getting up early Saturday morning to cover the Chamber. And then we got the rundown for Revolution on Leap Day. It's a special Leap Day stream. I don't remember the last time I streamed on Leap Day, but it is a special Leap Day stream. Leap Day rundown for Revolution, as we are going to preview and predict everything going down on March 3rd. It is going to be an extremely, extremely fun time. Till next time, I'm DJ Storms. This has been The Rewind, but before we get out of here, you already know the drill, people. Let me take a sip of my ice water, and I'll tell you exactly who runs the IWC. Who better, baby? Who but DJ motherfucking Storms? I am the wrestling analytical god, and don't you ever, ever forget it.
Cause we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. want retribution.